So last summer I went to CombatCon to test out my fencing style in lightsaber combat. I'd been saying for a while now that I think that it would be a perfect style for lightsaber combat, so this seemed like the perfect event to give it a shot. Not to mention I had a bachelor party in Vegas just a week before, so it seemed like the perfect timing. Now I'll talk about the results of my experiment in another video. Today I want to talk about how awesome CombatCon actually was on its own. The first aspect of why CombatCon was a great time was the amazing classes that they had running during the whole event. So during the whole 4-day event, there were multiple workshop style classes that you could take involving multiple different weapon types or different styles from across the world. Personally, I went for the African martial arts because I had recently met Mansa and fought against him and gained a newfound respect and love for the African martial arts. They are awesome classes led by Henry Hill and Damon Stith. Now, if you've been on this channel for a little while, you might know the game Hellish Court and the character Alexander Dennis. Well, if you do know these things, you'll find it cool to know that Damon is the head of the Hama Association, but also the person that Alexander Dennis's moves are made off of. Meeting these two men and being able to discuss swordplay and concepts without egos getting in the way was some of the most satisfying things I got out of this whole event. These two men wanted to learn and share with other people rather than just impose their way of thinking, which was such a breath of fresh air compared to most conversations I have with people who say they're swordsmen. What was even more amazing is they decided to show us how they go about researching and deciding how to recreate African martial arts in the most honest way possible. This experience with them further reinforced my choice to go to Philadelphia for their event later that summer with how knowledgeable and humble they were at the same time. Next up, we got the vendors, and I'm going to be honest. The only equipment I had ready for the lightsaber tournament was the lightsaber itself that I purchased on my own and a fencing mask. Other than that, I had nothing else I needed. That being said, one of the vendors got me fully equipped with no hassle at all. This is a huge shout out to Purple Heart Armory because both online and in person, their customer service was beyond impeccable. I had asked them if they could bring the equipment I needed to the event and then I'd pay them on the spot when we got there, and they did so without even asking a question, and they didn't make me feel like bad about it. Their selection was vast and there were plenty of other vendors that looked pretty good too, but I had spent enough money on the gear to even participate in the tournament, so I had to stop my spending there. Speaking about my tournament, there were so many events going on during this convention. I was there for the lightsaber combat, but there were so many other things going on, such as longsword, sword and buckler, small sword. I even saw people doing cutting events as well. It really looked like a huge gathering of different sword fighters in one place, and it was so great to see. I also want to make a shout out to the organizers of the lightsaber combat community. They were fantastic. They were great. They helped me figure it all out because I kind of knew what I was doing, but I didn't. But they guided me the whole way through, and they didn't make me feel bad about not knowing things. Thank you so much for being great hosts. Speaking about the people involved in the convention, I want to say that the last reason I think that CombatCon was amazing was purely because of the people. They were fantastic. Everybody involved seemed to be having a good time, including the organizers, which I found funny because usually they have all the pressure on their shoulders, but they didn't let it show. They were organizing, I could see they were doing their job, but at the same time they were smiling and joking around with people, which was kind of refreshing. It made everything seem just calm. The fighters, the spectators, and even the special guests were just kind people. When I was there, I made plenty of friends, but at the same time, I hung out for hours with some of the special guests, and they didn't make it feel like seem weird. I hung out for a few hours with Dave Baker from Forge and Fire, which was awesome for me. My mother's side of the family and I watch the show all the time, and that's our thing that we do. So to meet him and for him to be kind and approachable and like just have a discussion with you without any type of judgment was so cool for me. Alongside him, I also hung out with Luc Lafontaine, who did the choreography for Corridor Digital's lightsaber fight. I reviewed that video with nothing but praise a while ago.
Plasma that was burning at 1,000,000 degrees and I touched you with it, how would you really fight with it? So even though we're in a fantasy-based world, I want dramatic intention and reality, and I want the audience to be scared, and I'm not scared if this guy does a triple backflip and a butterfly twist in the middle of this deadly sword fight where it's like, well, while you're in the air, I'm just gonna cut you in half.
And while we were talking, we started talking about the Star Wars fights, and we realized that we recognized each other from online. He had apparently seen my video and loved it, but most importantly, he confirmed to me that I was right about the cardinal sins in lightsaber combat from the movies, but also that he was making fun of them in that one little segment where the guy dies like 4 times in a row because he was doing stupid shit. I'm not gonna lie to you though, my ego spiked a little bit in that moment when I got that confirmation. That being said, I told you all these things because I think if you like swordplay, then you should totally go to this event if you can. I don't know of another event with so many different tournaments, quality classes, and great people. Where else would you find lightsabers fighting right beside historical weapons? Where else would you get to see Dave Baker play Jenga with a small sword, or see a real-life Polnareff that actually looks like he knows what he's doing? I plan to go again this year, but if I can't, then you definitely should. Who doesn't want a sword fight in Vegas, right? If you want to see how my lightsaber experiment went, then you should like this video and subscribe to the channel because that's the next video coming out. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.